Hello, everybody, and welcome to another great episode of Black Spinner Circle Vidcast with me and Al Horta. How's it going, Al?
It's been a little bit of a rough week, but
Yeah.
other than that, I mean, it's all right. I'm living. I'm breathing.
Yeah, sometimes unexpected stuff can really drag us down here and there, but
Yeah.
we can have a good time
Yeah.
tonight.
That's why I love doing this show. It just makes me happy talking about music.
Yeah, it really does.
And hanging out with friends and stuff like that. So,
and kind of stand back for just a moment and relax, and then sometimes you see things in a different light.
Yeah.
But today's episode, we're doing the top 10 plus 5 instrumentals on albums. This is like we always do. It's open to what any kind of
instrumental songs, right?
Yeah, songs.
Okay. You said albums. I'm like, whoa.
Oh, no, songs.
Right.
Top 10
All
plus 5 songs.
Okay.
On albums. Joining us today is Joseph Staub. How's it going, Joe?
I pick 5. I can always pick one.
Right.
Doing good. Glad to be here. Excited to talk about this. Andy threw this idea out last week. I'm like, yeah, I can definitely think of at least 15 songs, if not more. So I'm excited to talk about this.
Yeah, this is kind of a different show because we're going to be talking about songs we usually don't talk about because sometimes we get talking about the same songs. Recently, I've been trying to pick different stuff that surprise or, going outside. Well, not outside my realm, but just to push the envelope a different way. And also with us is Manny Mejias. How's it going, Manny? Thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's going well. Me and the legendary Al, that's his new name, Legendary. We went and saw Styx, Glenn Fry, and
not Glenn
Kevin Cronin or whatever his name is. And
Glenn Fry.
It was great. During the REO Speedwagon
it was a miracle. He's alive.
Yeah.
He's been in hiding with Jim.
Glenn Fry. He's alive. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it's kind of cool watching, especially REO Speedwagon. You saw all these women and their plastic surgery disasters lose their years, just melt away, as they remember being fondled in the backseat of their car while REO Speedwagon 8-track played. It was very, very touching, especially the two hags that Al had me sit next to.
It wasn't my fault, man. They're on the other
No, it's
side.
all right. They were friendly. One of them.
Oh, yeah. Were they friendly? Wow.
No, I discouraged
Isn't that
it
what you
because I
want?
kept getting close to Al. Hopefully they'll think I'm gay and they'll leave me alone.
They smell like Ben Gay or what?
I go, hey, don't flirt with me. My boyfriend has got muscles, and they bought into that.
But speaking of the Eagles, what song? I mean, did he play a lot of Eagles songs?
Oh yeah. Oh, mostly, yeah. What was interesting, he played Eagles songs on albums he wasn't even on.
Really?
He played "Take It Easy." And I can't remember the other one he did that he wasn't on. But I was really surprised how good Don Felder was because I can't speak for Al, and I'll give you his thoughts in a minute. But he was the one guy I was expecting the least from.
Right.
And I actually enjoyed his set. I enjoyed everyone that played, but I really enjoyed his set. I enjoyed Styx probably more than anybody because it was a rock show. But Don Felder was great. REO Speedwagon was fine. Well, I'm sorry, not REO Speedwagon, but Kevin and his,
basically the
hired
same band
guys.
he had last year.
Yeah,
3/5 of the last lineup of REO Speedwagon.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But anyway, they were great. But I don't really have a emotional connection to all those songs. To me, that was pure nostalgia,
Right.
For me. I do like REO Speedwagon, but it didn't mean as much to me as, say, the ladies that were living their high school youth and remember their big, beefy football player whose Now, you know,
car
sagging
salesman.
mess of a human being whose life has fallen apart. But anyway, that's a different
Who's
story.
already on his fourth wife, and
Oh,
let's take it on the run, baby.
yeah, take it on the run. He's got to take 10 pills of Viagra just to stand up, let alone do an erection. It's very sad. But other than that, it was a lot of fun actually, and we were pretty close. It was really a cool show. I would recommend it. You know, if it's cheap enough, I would definitely.
I think Joe's going to see it, right, Joe?
Yeah, in August when it comes up around here.
Joe, you're gonna be really impressed. I mean, Ario.
Well, Joe's
or
a huge
Kevin?
Sticks fan, dude. So
Yeah, this
Joe,
will be my
What's
this will
that?
be my sixth time seeing Styx, and my third or fourth time seeing Kevin Cronin. I haven't seen Don Felder, so I'm excited about him. But yeah, no, I'm
Sticks and Oreo toured together.
Oh,
so many
always.
times. Like,
that was like the touring act.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
and
touring
in fact,
package.
speaking of Styx and Joseph, they've got a podcast that's dedicated to Styx. Why don't you talk about that a little bit more? Is your first episode out yet?
I think Chris is still editing it, so
But you did tape it though.
Yeah, we recorded it. Jerry and I recorded
Okay.
it last Thursday. Like Andy said, our buddy Jerry Supe, who a lot of you guys know from BS Sessions, from Three Shots Down, from Freeform, he asked me to start a podcast with him. Actually, it's a YouTube channel actually, entirely devoted to Styx, called Heavy Water 77. So we recorded our first episode last week. Kind of a little bit of an introduction to the channel. We also listed 10 songs that we wish Styx would add back into their set lists. So that should be coming out here in the next few days. And then starting this week, we're going to be recording. We're going to be going through chronologically their entire discography. We're recording our review of the first Styx album this Thursday. So hopefully we'll be able to get those out pretty soon as well. We're going to be going through every one of their albums, taking some breaks now and then to kind of have some fun topics, discussions, solo albums, live shows, stuff like that. So, yeah, we got a lot of ideas. So I'm kind of excited to see what we can do here.
That is very, very cool.
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited to hear more about that and see it. That'd be cool.
Yeah. One last thing before we move on. What impressed me about Styx was I didn't realize how proggy a lot of those songs are, man. I really. Again, I have a lot of Styx album, but I haven't listened to them in a long time, and it made me go back. Even Paradise Theater, because in my mind, Paradise Theater is like sort of a pop album. When you really listen to it, there's nothing really poppy about it, at all. And even songs like Babe and yeah, I know, cater to the chicks. That's fine. Now we all like women. Thank you, Styx. I'm glad, but. That's a well-written song. Say what you want, but it's a well-written song,
It is.
Yeah.
It's a good song.
Yeah. But Kilroy was here. They can still stick that up their ass. All right, go ahead.
Yep.
Now.
It's just so ironic that they play Mr. Roboto, and it's like that was the bane of their existence, like when they fucking toured on that album, man.
Well, Jerry and I talked about this on our show, so you'll hear this again if you listen to our episode. They didn't play that song for 30 fucking years live.
Yeah.
They wouldn't play it.
Yeah.
But
Wow,
ever since I've
really?
been seeing, they from 83, they didn't play it again until 2018. That was the first time they brought it back into the set list, which just so happens to be the first year that I saw Styx live. So every single time I've seen Styx now, they've played that godforsaken song.
Yeah.
And I wish they'd leave it along the side of the road, which I was kind of hoping that this year they would, because since that they were playing the entire Grand Illusion, they'd have to cut some other stuff. I was hoping that would be one that they would cut and leave back in 1983 again, but no luck.
Nah.
It became a hit again because if y'all remember, there was a commercial
Car commercial.
that,
I
that
remember.
featured that song. I forgot what car it was, but I think that commercial came out about 6 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. And the driver was mouthing the song, and ever since then, it's being referenced to. I don't know the song. I've always liked it.
I saw that tour. I was like 14 or 13. It's one of the first concerts I went to, and I hated it so much. And I loved Styx at the time. I had Grand Illusion, and I had Paradise Theater, and I had Pieces of Eight, which I still love. I had those, and I saw that show, and I was
Isn't
a
like the
kid.
first
So
20 minutes like just dialogue or some
Yeah.
shit like that?
They aired
Yeah.
they had the short film, and then so like, basically, if you watch the DVD, it's that they just did came out and did like acted it out. Dennis mimed Mr. Roboto. The band wasn't even playing it live. It was just him singing it over a track because he and Tommy were acting. And then the band come out, they'd do some songs, they'd stop in the middle, they did Heavy Metal Poisoning. James would put like the outfit on and stuff, and they basically half the show was either acting or a short film.
Like kind of a
it-
play.
Not
it
good.
was terrible.
Basically, that's what broke up the band.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Well, the tour didn't sell for shit. The tour
Yeah.
was
Really?
like half
And I
full.
bet it was expensive.
Well, yeah, they were taking,
Yeah.
and nobody wanted to open for it. Like no other band wanted to get that stink on them.
Wow, it was that
Wow.
Yeah,
big of a slap.
yeah.
Wow.
But didn't that album go platinum though?
Oh,
Am I
yeah.
wrong? Yeah, I
Mhm.
thought so. I thought so.
There was
Because
I mean, that's when it meant something.
just because of Mr. Roboto.
There was the I remember the behind the music with Styx where they were
Mhm.
talking about, but they did like the Texas Jam or something like
Mhm.
that, where it was like Nugent and Sammy Hagar and a bunch of other, and like, you know, I don't know if it was like Sammy or something that did like a blistering set, and then Styx is like, now we got to come on after him, like fucking do 20 minutes of dialogue. People are gonna fucking throw shit at us,
And they
basically.
did.
Yeah, you know, and I remember like seeing that, and I'm like, wow, that's basically what fucking killed the band. You know,
Well, it took me 20 years to recover. I did finally buy Kilroy Was Here on CD, but I don't think it's as bad as I remember it. I think I probably overreacted, as a kid.
No, it is
Yeah,
a pretty
it's-
bad album. It's a pretty bad album.
Well, it's definitely at the bottom, but it's not as. No, it still sucks. You're right. I can't defend it. All right, let's go on with the show.
Hey, I want to say hello to Jimmy Schwartz out there. How's it going, Jimmy? Thanks for joining us. Always
Hey,
a pleasure having you on here with us, and being on comments with us. You're always a good guest on here. So let's move on to what's spinning. What's spinning for you, Joe?
Well, you may or may not believe this, but I'm spinning a Styx album.
Get out of town.
The new one, actually. I just got this in the mail yesterday. I know Al picked up a copy of this at the show you guys saw. Brand new Styx album just came out.
my autographs
have
are
ours.
better.
Signed. Yeah, you have better autographs, I think. But I paid less, so
How much do you pay?
it was $13.98 when I pre-ordered
How
it.
much?
$13.98.
Oh, really? Autographed and everything?
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The shipping was like $8, but
Yeah.
I even noticed that if you go back to if you even go through the website that I pre-ordered it on, it's more expensive now. And if you order it through Styx's website, it's even more expensive than that.
Oh,
So
okay.
I got it at the cheapest price you
35
could get.
still
it.
wasn't bad though. man.
Yeah, especially to
all
get
the
it there.
autograph-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the show and stuff.
Yeah.
It was released this past Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not
Uh,
officially.
Not official. Well,
It's-
it's a really weird album rollout. I've never seen anything quite like it. And even though this is still a Universal album, it's not like it's through their private label or anything. This is still on UME. The CD and I was the vinyl available at the show too.
No, vinyl wasn't.
Okay, so the CDs are available at all the
I didn't
the
see it.
shows on
I
the
didn't see it.
tour, and then you can technically they're still calling it pre-ordering the CD and the vinyl online, but they're shipping right away. Originally, they said they weren't shipping till the end of June, but they shipped already. I mean, everyone already has
But
their
the official
CDs
release date's like July or something, right?
for digital.
really?
It's not releasing digitally until July 18th. So
Okay.
it's honestly, I've never seen an album quite like this, where they
Yeah.
literally they announced it last Tuesday. The official announcement of this album was last Tuesday. They released the first single, and you could buy it the next night at the show.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wednesday night was the first show, and that was when you could buy it. So it literally, the day after they announced it, people could technically buy it. You could pre-order it, and it was already shipped out. So it's really weird. I've never seen an album being released quite like that before. But anyway, it's called Circling from Above. And I know Al and I talked about it a little bit on online yesterday. I enjoyed it. I did. I Of the 3 albums that they've done with not the current lineup because Ricky Phillips isn't in the band anymore, but the 3 that they've done with Tommy and Will Evankovich being the primary songwriters, I think this is the weakest of the 3, but I still think I enjoyed it quite a bit. I have to go back and listen to it again because I only listened through once, but I did enjoy it quite a bit. But I still would rather listen to the other 2, especially The Mission. I still think The Mission's an amazing album.
That's the best one.
Crash of the Crown's good as well, and I do enjoy this, but to me, The Mission was so unexpected when it came out. Like, they hadn't put out an album in almost 20 years at that point, and it was amazing. And I think they're still kind of trying to chase that a little bit, but I did enjoy this quite a bit. So that's what I've been spinning is the new Styx album, Circling from Above.
Oh, cool. What about you, Manny? What have you been spinning?
I bought it at the show. And Dennis
You didn't
DeYoung
buy the
signed it, not
autograph
the Styx guy, the janitor, Dennis DeYoung at the show signed it. But unfortunately, the Dennis DeYoung, the singer, wasn't there. But I actually enjoy it. Again, like I was saying, I forget that they started out as a prog.
Mhm.
Actually, they have a weird history. You know what? We're gonna have to do a show on Styx one day on here, guys. Okay?
Yeah, these first 4 albums on Wood and Nickel, they're very, very progressive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the proggy stuff, man. Real proggy
yeah.
stuff.
But live, I was sitting next to Al, and I wasn't saying anything. I was just taking it in because I've seen him live before. I saw him opening up for Def Leppard. Honestly, it was just the greatest hits set, you know. But this time they did Grand Illusion. They did stuff from I can't remember. They did everything. They did a new song. I was impressed
The new
by
song
the
was good, man.
musicality of it. It was, the only song they did that was poppy and I still like was they did Kilroy was here, and they did Too Much Time on My Hands, which I guess is the closest they have to a pop song besides Kilroy was here. Also was surprised that the 2 main Styx guys, JY and Tommy Shaw, kind of gave the spotlight to the singer. I forgot his name, and he was
Lauren
great.
Gowan.
Mhm.
Thank you. He was great. He was nothing bad to say about him. And the original bass player, Chuck, would show up here and there for a song.
Yeah.
I understand he's been ill for a number of years,
Probably.
but it was kind of cool that they would bring him out, which is his choice. Chuck wants to go on the road. They're going to take him. But I think it's cool that they would bring him out and, just part of their roots. But I enjoyed the show. Great band, but I agree. I can't compare it to the other albums yet, but I did like this quite a bit. I know it's a concept album of sorts, but Al will have to explain to me what the concept is.
I didn't really quite get the concept either. So I think it's talking about technology versus nature, I think, is a lot of what it's talking about.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got the CD at the show as well. I gave it a curse. I only listened to one. I gave it a cursory listen on the way home from the show. Actually, I popped it in the CD player and I listened on the way home. Now the first song, Circling from Above, is kind of an instrumental that goes into Build and Destroy, and that was the song that they played live, and I enjoyed it, man. I was like, wow, that song's good, man. Now and again, it's a cursory listen. I got to listen to it more, but I don't know, man. There's some of the stuff was like, what's this honky tonk shit that they're fucking playing or something? It was just, I don't know, man. It just didn't seem like, I don't know, heavy enough for me, or
that was my one complaint was there wasn't a lot of heaviness.
Yeah,
even compared to The Mission, which
yeah.
had a lot of heavy elements to it.
The great
Crash
thing-
of the Crown was kind of the same way. Crash of the Crown wasn't very heavy either.
Yeah. So I expected a little more rocking. I like some. Usually Styx albums have a lot of variety. They have like some pretty heavy songs on there, and the more poppier ones, the ballads, whatever. And I don't know, I wasn't getting like any heaviness really, besides the first song, Build and Destroy, which had a rock edge to it. But other than that, like I was like, but I got to listen to it again. I did get the Don Felder CD. They were doing like this, buy a CD give $20 for a CD and you get a ticket. You can win a guitar.
Mhm.
So, Manny, by the way, we didn't win the guitar. So.
Son, I knew it was rigged. I knew it was rigged.
That was actually that was how I got the Mission when I first saw them in 2018. They were doing that with the Mission. That's how I got the Mission on CD. Was the $20 and you get a ticket for a guitar.
Yeah, once in a while, like I'll do that, man. What the hell, man? You can win. You can. I mean, you got to be in it to win it, right?
Mhm.
So, so Manny went and got his CD, and he got mine for me. I was like, go grab one for me, man. Grab the Don Felder since I already got the Styx one autographed. Just grab this for me. But I have yet to check this out. I didn't even pop it open yet. But REO was doing the whole High Infidelity album. This is the hit. The 70s REOs I like better, but I mean, there's some good stuff on this album, though. I mean, I like the hits and stuff like that. So it was cool. And I won't really show anything else, man. I mean, I don't want to take up too much time. My wife was out shopping on. She saw this for $10, and she got it for me. One of the REM albums.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bargain for $10.
$10,
good.
yeah.
And that's an amazing album too.
It is
Yeah.
amazing. So,
And she FaceTimed me. She's like, hey, I see this album. She goes to this place called Hot Bins, which is like a lot of Amazon returns and stuff. It's kind of like you pick through these bins and they're in packages.
Yeah.
And you gotta take them to a station to unbox them or whatever. But I think that this was out in the open. It was just wrapped in plastic.
Wow, that's a good
Wow.
album. That's a damn
And
good album.
she was like, do you want me to grab this? I'm like, hell yeah, I don't have it on vinyl for $10. Why not?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was on my honorable mentions for 85 last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
That's a great REM album. So yeah, that's what I've been spinning. And actually, since I was going to see Don Felder, I pulled out his book too, Heaven and Hell. I do have his book, so I'm starting to read this, and he's pretty interesting, man. The fights.
I read that book,
gets
and
into with
it
Glenn Fry
and it makes me hate Don Henley and Glenn Fry. I'm like, those sons of bitches.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to read it. I don't want to know anything about these people's lives. I don't want to know anything about backstage, or I just want to turn on their music and enjoy it and just think that they were best friends in the band.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
That's all I want to know.
How about you,
One last
Andy?
thing
What
I'll
do you-
say
what do
about
you got?
Styx, by the way, and then I'm going to stop because I do this every episode on any podcast. I derail it. It's my gift. Anyway, but I don't think they get a reputation for cheesiness, but which is unfair, and I think it's due to one thing and one thing only: Kilroy was here. Because you listen to those albums should have more fans in the prog world and the metal world, in my opinion. Al's right. I didn't also forgot how heavy some of those songs are until I saw him live. Because like I said, last time was the greatest hits tour when I saw him, sort of. And yeah, I mean, if you guys ever do a show on Styx, I'd be interested, because now, thanks to Al, a band I've ignored forever, I've now been interested in and realized, wow, these guys are a lot deeper than I thought they were. So
One more thing on Styx is, I remember right before COVID hit, I was going to go see them in New York City when I was still living in New Jersey, and it was when they had the Mission out, and they were going to do the whole album, and they got derailed for 2 years. They got pushed out, but they came back, and already that album cycle was already, I think they already had the Crash of the Crown out. Actually, yes, that had just come out, but they were honoring like still that Mission show. They wanted to play the whole album from top to bottom, and they played it at the Beacon Theater in New York City. And I went to it like 2 years later, and it was amazing. I thought that album was great, man. One of the latter day really good Styx albums, man. Out of like Joe said, out of the three, that's my favorite, so far. So, and it was cool that they did the whole album, and then it was like 2 sets with an intermission. So it was a really long Styx show. And then the second half, they came out and they did, hits and stuff. And they did something from Crash to the Crown. I remember they did a new song. So it was funny, like how that, the album came and went, but they still came back and they played the whole album. I guess they were really proud of it. Probably. I guess they really wanted to play. I don't know if New York was like one of the, I mean, they didn't do a tour like that, right, Joe?
No, because
So
when I
pretty much got to see like some sort of kind of a special show.
Because I saw them in summer of 2021, right when Crash of the Crown was coming out.
Yeah.
and it was just a regular set plus some Crash of the Crown songs,
Yeah.
and it was with REO Speedwagon.
That's funny. All right, go ahead, Andy. Sorry.
This dude's insane. All right. It's not the Styx album, I can tell you that. But I was on, in fact, we did a show with Mark and Jerry on Saturday. It was an impromptu show. We were talking about, we went through the Van Halen discography. So I kept this one out because I really enjoy it, Balance. Hearing it again, I really, this is my second favorite Sammy Hagar one after 5150 Balance. So that's why I've been spinning a couple of times, and of course finding the right instrumentals for the show. But yeah, this is a pretty good album, and I like it.
I would say it's an excellent album. I think it's underrated. I love it.
So do I.
It is underrated.
The fact that you have it on vinyl too, man. It's
I know, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's an original one too.
Yeah. I wonder if $5 at a bookstore used.
Dude, you got lucky as hell, bro.
Yeah,
Wow.
I can't even find drugs for $10 anymore. It's terrible over here.
I never saw it again, and I think I bought it. I mean, it was a while back. It was a good 15 years ago. But I take care of my stuff as soon as I get and stuff like that. So yeah, I've been spinning Balance.
What did you do? What show did you do? Ranked Van Halen albums or something, or just talk about?
Yeah, on Saturday night with Mark, Jerry, and Travis.
Yeah.
Saturday night.
You just talked about albums, or did you rank them, or what'd you do?
We ranked. Oh well, we didn't rank it. We just went through the Van Halen discography.
Oh, just talked about them. Okay.
Yeah. We just went straight through them from one to A Different Kind of Truth.
Because I think we did a show a long time ago where we ranked Van Halen. Albums,
Yeah. That's when we ranked them, and then this was just going through them.
All right.
Yeah.
Just
so it was different, and just like my buddy Al says, they are the perfect summer band. So that was a good way to kick off summer, even though it's not till June 20th. But all right, guys. So let's get to our instrumentals. 10 plus 5. Let's do 3 at a time, and then we'll finish at 1. I think that's been working pretty good for us. We've been doing it for a couple months, and I think it goes well. We're still able to talk about everything you spoke about. So go for it, Joe.
All right. So what I try to do here, like Andy said as well, is I try to pick songs that are instrumentals on rock albums. If I wanted to do jazz and other stuff like that, it would have probably taken up a majority of my list. So there are a lot of bands on my list that have quite a few instrumentals. And what I try to do is pick one that maybe doesn't get talked about as much that I think is really great. But my number 10 is a band that's not really known for instrumentals. In fact, this instrumental comes from one of their least popular albums. And I think it's amazing. I think it's an amazing instrumental. It's one of my favorite tracks on the album. And that is from the awesome album, Music from the Elder, Kiss with Escape from the Island.
There you go.
Really heavy rocking instrumental.
That's a great song.
That's a guy great.
Just a really ripping track. They have the air raid siren going through the whole song, which I think adds kind of a really cool atmosphere to the track. But just a really great instrumental from a band that really doesn't do a lot of instrumental. I think they've only done 2 in their entire career, really. Love Theme from Kiss on the first album, and then Escape from the Island. And definitely one of those is much better than the other. But so that's my number 10. My number 9 is a band that has done quite a few instrumentals, a band that I have a lot of love for. I know Andy does as well. And that is the Alan Parsons Project, with the song I, Robot, the title track off of their second album, I, Robot. Just a fantastic instrumental. I love the atmosphere they create in their songs, whether it's their regular songs or their instrumentals. And I, Robot in general is one of my favorite Alan Parsons albums. And the song I, Robot is a terrific instrumental. And then my number 8, another band that has done a shit ton of instrumentals over the years, and that is King Crimson. And I went with Fracture off of Starless and Bible Black.
Oh, yeah.
Just this really awesome 11-minute long instrumental that was actually, from what I understand, the backing kind of playing of John Wetton and Bill Bruford was written out, was orchestrated, but it was just Robert Fripp improvising over top of it with a lot of that guitar work. So it has a really cool, which they were known for, a lot of improvisation, a lot of live improvisation, especially. There was a lot of tracks on their albums. I mean, Providence on Red, most of Red actually was improvisational, but Fracture is one of my absolute favorite King Crimson instrumentals, so that is my number 8. So, yep, my 10, 9, and 8 are Kiss Escape from the Island, Alan Parsons Project, I, Robot, and King Crimson Fracture.
Good choices, man.
Yeah, that Alan Parsons Project, of course it's going to have top-notch production on it, but when you hear a Alan Parsons Project album, you can really feel and really hear it, that it's a couple of notches above everything else that was coming out at the time, production-wise. You can hear the expertise in it, and that's what really sticks out to me. So great choices, man.
Thank you.
One of the few contributions, well, the Kiss one, one of the few contributions that Ace did on that album.
Yes. Probably his biggest contribution aside from Darklight.
Yeah, Darklight, yeah.
Yeah. I actually like that album now.
I love that album, man.
Yeah.
Oh, so do I.
Yeah. I think it's a great album.
It's good. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, Manny, what are you going to start off with? What's your 10, 9, 8?
Okay, 10, 9, 8. All right, number 10 is going to be from my favorite guitar player, but not from a great album. Jimi Hendrix, Peace in Mississippi. This is off of Crash Landing. It's a controversial choice because Alan Douglas, who's now dead and burning in hell, took the original tapes and he put other session musicians that didn't originally play with Jimi Hendrix.
Mm-hmm.
So, being that that's a huge sin, I'm sure God has punished him appropriately for touching God's music. But that being said, the master of the Stratocaster still comes through on there. It's a very angry piece of music, and it's probably made even angrier because from the great beyond, Jimmy knew that this guy was messing with his stuff. That being said, the original has been since reissued by the family. It's not as fierce as the one on Crash Landing, which you can still get pretty cheap, but it's really cool. And I have to throw Jimi Hendrix in there because you shall have no other gods before him. So that's number 5 or number 10. Ace Frehley, Fractured Mirror, from his solo album.
Yeah,
I like that quite a bit. I kind of wish Ace Frehley would have done an all instrumental album, but cocaine's a hell of a drug, but that's a great album. It's a great song.
Hey, cocaine fueled him in a good way on that one.
On that one, absolutely. It makes me wish
probably using a Fractured Mirror.
Yeah.
And I was going to put this higher, but I'm not sure it's really a song, but it's the most influential 30 seconds of music ever. Van Halen's Eruption. I mean, that changed music forever. It's incredible. Still great. I would have put it higher, but I played it too much from my, over the years, but it's still great. And we all bow down to Eddie Van Halen. So,
see, I was looking at that and I was just like, it's just, I know it starts off with drums and stuff too, just to begin to start it all, but I don't know. I consider it just more of a guitar solo and accompanied kind of thing. I just don't think of it as an instrumental for some reason. I don't know, like a classic.
Well, you're not wrong. It is.
But it is an instrumental. But it is
solo.
an instrumental. It is, so, you could, there's no rule that you can't put that on there or whatever. So anyway.
Look, most of Ted Nugent's songs are solos disguised as songs. So at least Edward Van Halen was upfront about it, But it's such an influential piece of music. It's totally amazing. By the way, great choices on the King Crimson, all of them. But that's amazing musicianship. Anyway, that were my choices, sir.
Yeah.
gentlemen.
Yeah, I just wanted to add about what the family has been doing with Jimi Hendrix's music. That is the way you do the legacy of an artist that has passed. You do it right, and every release that they've done has been top notch, and a respect for Jimmy's music, because we've heard so many people that so many
Alan Douglas.
musicians that have passed, and they just throw out junk out there just to make money off of it. So,
There were a couple.
Motorhead. I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry.
There were
I
a
coughed
couple of the
there.
Alan Douglas albums though that are worth getting though. That
Oh yeah. I
think
like
that
that
Crash
Landing
I think
one.
that Crash Landing one is worth getting. And what's the other one?
There's Midnight Lightning,
Mid-
and
but- there's one more though.
well, there's Nine to the Universe. He did a couple. He did do a good one called Blues.
Okay.
That was real. That's so good that the estate never took that out of circulation.
What about Cry of Love? Was that
Cry of Love.
That's
That's Eddie
the one
Kramer.
I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Eddie Kramer.
okay?
Oh, that wasn't an Alan Douglas one?
No. The
Okay.
thing with if you guys find it, you should pick it up. Crash Landing, because you can find it pretty cheap. I have it on CD and vinyl. What's amazing about it is none of the people that are on there actually even met Jimi Hendrix, the drummer. You know, he replaced him with session musicians. What's even more amazing is, since the estate has put out all these box sets, there it is.
Crash,
They've restored the original tracking, and honestly, it doesn't. Douglas didn't improve on it at all. It sounds better with the original, you know. And Jimmy's, these are just song sketches. Like, oh, I got guys, you know, that sort of, you know. But it's worth getting. But it's interesting because I mean, Douglas even took a songwriting credit on a song called Captain Coconut, which wasn't even the title of the song. It's Jimmy used to play what they call patterns. Him and Billy Cox, he would just think of something and, you know, and put it on tape. All right, we'll come back to this later. And of course, he never did. So that's that sort of stuff that happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are my choices. And who is next, gentlemen?
All right, Al.
All right, man. My number 10, I'm going to start off from their first album when they were a ripping hard rock fusion band, Journey, with Kohoutek. Just a ripping instrumental. Dude, I think the star of that show is, well, I mean, Neil Sean just fucking blazes on that, but Ainsley Dunbar's drumming on that is just ridiculous, man. Like, and he's doing the bass drum pattern with 1 foot. He's not using the double bass or anything. Something that would give, I mean, if you listen to that song, it gives John Bonham a run for his money. You know, Ainsley Dunbar, man, one of the unsung hero drummers, in my opinion, one of the greatest. I mean, he was in Zappa. I mean, let's go. You know what I mean?
Oh,
He was on that Whitesnake '87 album, even though that doesn't really showcase, you know, the drumming that he's capable of. But anyway, Journey, Kohoutek from the first album. I gotta put that on there, man. I've always loved that song, man. Next one, I'm going Iron Maiden, Transylvania. I love that song, Paul Di'Anno era of the band, you know, and one of the, I mean, they never. I don't think Maiden did a lot of instrumentals, man. I think
No, but they did at least one more.
yeah, one more, yeah. But I mean, 1 or 2 more. That was really it. I don't think they really did a lot of true instrumentals. So a lot of like instrumental passages in songs that take up like 10 minutes, but they're still singing on them. But anyway, and then my number 8, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with an obvious one here. I put on my list, Pink Floyd, One of These Days. You know, I mean, that's just I've always loved that song. Whenever they played that live, I dug Gilmore's playing on there and his slide and all that stuff. So anyway, that's a more obvious one, but I'm going with that one. So
Now, Al, that song has lyrics in it.
yeah, I know there's a spoken word.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I know there's just like one of these whatever.
I'll cut you to little pieces.
Yeah,
But
Nick
I
Mason
got
says
one that has a
that.
choir.
What's that?
I've got one that's got a choir here and there,
All right.
just like humming along. So that's
So
cool.
10 10 Journey Kohoutek, 9 Iron Man Transylvania, 8 Pink Floyd One of These Days. Andy, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I'm going to start off with what Al just talked about, Iron Maiden Transylvania. I think it's a fantastic track. Al already did it justice. My number 9 is I'm going to go with off the Burn album by Deep Purple, A200. You know, again, the great John Lord really digs deep into something completely different from what we're used to hearing from John Lord. So that was cool. And then this one here, I want to thank Brad Dahl for getting me into this band. He mentioned them once before, and I just ever since then I've been trying to find everything I can. Which I think they only have like 3 proper albums, but I've got 2 out of the 3. Gamma.
Oh yeah, Gamma.
Good.
Some of the best work by Ronnie Montrose is in Gamma, where he lets go of being, part of the rock scene of the time and just saying, you know what, let me do whatever the hell I want to do. And the track on here is where is it at? Solar Heat, which starts off side 2. Very much I don't want to compare it to Alan Parsons, but the keyboard work is fantastic, and you have Ronnie Montrose, his guitar, just piercing through in and out. So Gamma, really good band. I like them.
Cool.
So that's my 3.
Nice.
Yeah, Gamma. They're a severely underrated group from the late 70s. There, Ronnie Montrose. I agree. That's probably some of the best guitar work of Ronnie Montrose's career. Yeah, people tend to associate him more with Montrose as a band. Right. But I would honestly, if you give me the choice to listen to either one, I'll take Gamma any day.
Yeah. I think it's completely different because Montrose was just like everybody else at the time, with a better guitar player. This is just, and I found Gamma 3 probably a couple months ago, but like I always complain, I buy, don't listen. So
I think the first 2, I enjoy the first 2 more than the third one. But the third one's good as well. So
I'll probably work on that tonight while I'm, working on whatever else I need to be doing. All right. What's your
765? All right. My number 7. This is a song that used to scare the ever-living shit out of me when I was a kid. I was lucky enough to grow up with a father who played this album to death, and I love it still to this day. And that is Emerson, Lake and Palmer with the epic Toccata off of the Brain Salad Surgery album. Just creepy, weird. Just it's so out there. Carl Palmer's doing this amazing drum solo in the middle of it. If you go on YouTube, there's a video of him showing all of his drum kit and then doing the drum section from Toccata. He's playing on timpani. He's playing on his actual drum kit, beating the crap out of a gong, doing these like pads on his drum kit that have electronic sounds with them. And it's just so cool. It's really a feature for Carl Palmer, which he didn't get as many necessarily kind of solo features as Greg Lake or Keith Emerson did in some of their songs. I was thinking about going with The Barbarian off of their first album, but just for personal value, to me, Toccata is just one of a song that has left a very large imprint on me growing up with it, and I think it's an amazing instrumental. Number 6, I don't have Genesis on my list, but I do have Steve Hackett. One of my favorite, one of the coolest songs I think he ever did, off his Defector album from 1980, is a song called The Steps. And it's this really cool, like, Egyptian instrumental where there's this epic solo from Steve Hackett, heavy drums. My favorite version, there's a live album that he did about 7 or 8 years ago with an orchestra where he did a lot of Genesis songs, did some solo stuff, and he did The Steps. And it sounds so epic with an orchestra behind it. He has one of his band members playing a soprano saxophone, which just has this really, really kind of cool Egyptian sound to it. And then he comes in with this amazing guitar solo that Steve Hackett's known for. So that's one of the most underrated tracks I think he's ever done. It's called The Steps. And then my number 5 is just an absolutely iconic instrumental. It's easily a high point when the band plays it live, to the point where the singer comes out with a guitar and joins in. And that is off the probably my favorite Scorpions album, Love Drive, Coast to Coast. Just a great riff. Probably one of the coolest things is on the Live at Wacken DVD that they put out, where Michael Schenker's on stage with them doing it. And there's like 5 guitars there, because Rudolph and Michael are both on stage. Matthias Jabs is on stage, and then Klaus Meine comes out with a guitar, and they're all doing it at the end. And that's just epic instrumental, especially when they do it live. So that's my 7, 6, and 5. Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Toccata, Steve Hackett, The Steps, and Scorpions, Coast to Coast.
I gotta check out that Steve Hackett one. I never heard it, so I gotta.
I'll have to send you the video of the live performance, Al. It's a really, really great live performance.
Yeah, I'm starting to make playlists of everything we talk about now. I should have been done this like 3 years ago, but finally,
that's cool that you're doing that, actually, Andy. That's great.
Yeah, in fact, it's
I never heard that Steve Hackett solo song either, and I don't have a lot of Steve Hackett solo. I do like him, but I don't have a lot.
It's off of his kind of classic period of solo albums. If you buy there's a box set that I have that's his first 5 solo albums, and that's one of Defector from 1980. So it's kind of his classic period. He had 3 in the 70s, 1 when he was still in Genesis, 2 right after he left Genesis, and then Defector from 80 are kind of his classic albums, I would say.
The first one that he did when he was still in Genesis, didn't that actually have like most of the Genesis guys on it?
Oh yeah, no, Phil Collins was on most of the album.
Kind of like a lost, kind of a long lost like Genesis album, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Phil Collins was on, I think, the entire album, drumming on the whole album, and it was before Trick of the Tail, so it was before Phil Collins was even the singer. I think it was 75. It was when they were, I think it was right after they finished up the tour for Lamb Lies Down on Broadway.
Oh, okay.
When he recorded it. But I'm pretty sure, I don't know if Tony Banks was on it. I know Mike Rutherford was, and I know Phil Collins was.
That's cool.
And it was after Peter Gabriel had left. So I think it was, I'm pretty sure Phil Collins was on the whole album, and that's an amazing album too. Voyage of the Acolyte. I think Mike Rutherford was on quite a bit of it as well.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm very much like Maddie. I love him, but I don't own anything by him, so that's got to change.
Well, didn't you get the last album when you saw him?
No, I saw him, but I didn't buy it.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I
Is that
walked
the
right
one?
by it.
What's it called? The one with the shark on the cover, right?
Yeah, Circus and the Night Whale.
Yeah, I that's on my list. I have if you see behind me, because I just moved into my mother-in-law house to take care of my mom, but I've got like a few in there. I've got so much music; it's all packed up. But I've got 3 of them, and then I noticed prior to this, he's been doing a lot of like Genesis Revisited.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Albums.
I caught one of his shows years ago, and it was great, man.
He
highly recommended, man. If he ever comes
his
around.
band is so good.
Yeah,
his band he has gotten together just one of the greatest lineups of musicians I've ever seen.
He's the only guy that's really keeping the Gabriel Genesis.
Well, you'd have to be a hell of a musician to play. Have you ever seen the tablature to some of that stuff?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it takes a lot of the pressure off because Steve Hackett's on stage and he's playing some of the hardest parts. Yeah. So, but still, there's the bass and the keyboards and drum parts are no joke on some of that stuff.
Yeah.
I gotta say, those guys have to have some incredible muscle memory.
Oh my,
that's
well, and they're learning so much stuff because every tour has like a different theme. Like right now, he's touring for the 50th anniversary of Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. He's doing a bunch of Lamb Lies Down on Broadway songs that they hadn't played in forever.
Yeah.
Last tour, when both Andy and I saw him, he was doing the whole Foxtrot album.
Yeah.
Which
wow.
was
Really?
Foxtrot? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
To see that whole album, I mean, that was amazing.
That was awesome.
Right before that, he was doing the whole Seconds Out live album in order. So like this band has to be learning. Plus, they're still playing all the new songs that every time he puts an album out, they're playing those songs too.
Yeah.
So it's just you'd have to be an incredible musician to be able to keep up with all of that music.
Mhm.
And
And
his last 7 or 8 studio albums have just been amazing. Better than you would think he'd have any right to be making albums at this point in his
At
career.
this point in his life, yeah.
Yeah.
And he looks great.
Yeah.
He looks
Yeah,
great.
it's amazing because I think it was Al just said it. Okay, Phil's too sick, but those Genesis guys haven't performed, including Peter Gabriel, a lot of that material in decades. I know they're not
It's
ashamed
ignored,
of it, but it's
I mean on the Genesis, sometimes they'll throw in a Genesis a Gabriel era song or two, but really that's all you. Carpet Crawlers and maybe
you'll get I Know What I Like. You'll get Carpet Crawlers.
Yeah.
That's about it.
and it's a shame that Peter kind of just ignores it completely. I wish he would do it live, man. Even though I've never seen Peter Gabriel live, it's on my bucket list. I always wanted to see him. I do like his solo stuff too.
I don't think he's played a Genesis song live solo since the 70s.
Probably the 70s, yeah.
I think the only one he ever played was
I think on the
just
first
Lamb Lies
tour, his
Down.
first solo tour, he probably did like some, from like
the
Lamb.
only one he ever did, I think, was just the song Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. I think
that's it. Okay.
I'm pretty sure because there's video of him doing that on like a German TV show.
I mean, he completely left that era behind him, man.
Mm-hmm.
Never really came back to it.
Yeah.
Well,
and he was playing theaters, not arenas, so they're small, intimate, loud as hell places.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, getting to see Suppers Ready in a theater of maybe 1,000 people.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah. All right, Manny.
All right, let's see. As Al knows, I prepare very much by just picking stuff as I think about it. So
I thought I was off the cuff.
Dude, that's how I live my life. Anyway, Rush, YYZ, because Rush rules. I love that. I should have preferenced live version, but as you can see, I prepared very fast by just writing it right here. But YYZ Rush, because that's phenomenal, incredible.
Oh yeah.
And Neil Peart, I used to pronounce it Pert, by the way. When he died, I made a statement. There are a lot of musicians that are influential, but there are not a lot of musicians in rock that make you look at the instrument different. And he was one of them for drumming. Also, even though this is an instrumental, I'm going to say that Neil Peart, see, I got to say it right. I keep saying it the way I'm used to. Was a poet, and I put him up there with Bob Dylan, Leonard Cohen, Jim Morrison. I'm not kidding. I think he was that good of a lyricist. And I read a lot of literature, and he was great. But YYZ is my pick. This is a very, very, very artist that you would expect on this list, so I will not disappoint. Joe Satriani, Crush of Love. What I like about Joe Satriani is, yes, he's an instrumentalist guitarist, and but what I like about him is you can hear a vocal melody, even though there's no vocal in a lot of his songs.
Yeah.
That's how melodic his songs are. It's very good songwriting. I love Steve Vai, but I feel sometimes when I'm listening to Steve Vai that I'm in a guitar clinic, or when I listen to Joe Satriani, I feel like I'm listening to a songwriter.
Yeah.
And finally, what number is this? Well, whatever. You guys will tell
5.
me. Rainbow Snowman. Thank you, gentlemen. Rainbow Snowman from Bent Out of Shape. Richie Blackmore is one of my favorite guitar players. And the reason I like Snowman, which is an adaptation of a song, I think the guy's name's Howard Blake, but don't quote me. I'd have to look at the album. It's very fitting, kind of classical piece of music that he has definitely tried to incorporate his whole life. And I'm sure the young little Swedish guy was taking notes while that song played. But very cool, very good stuff. And also it's an instrumental where everyone accuses Blackmore of being self-indulgent, which he is live, which in a good way. But in this song, all the members of the band shine, which they probably promptly got fired, but they shined at least for this song. Anyway, that's my my picks.
You know, if anyone's going to get self-indulgent, let it be Richie, because that dude just plays, and he's fantastic. He's one of my favorite guitar players. I absolutely love Richie.
I do too. Incredible.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah, Blackmore rules.
All right, Al, what is your 765?
My number 7 from the great Blow by Blow album, Jeff Beck and Freeway Jam.
Oh,
I mean, just ridiculous. I mean, it's Jeff Beck, for fuck's sake. You know? I mean, it's ridiculous, bro. I mean, that's a great, you want to talk about a great fusion album, man. Blow by Blow. Get that album, man. I mean, from start to finish, it's just a ridiculously great album, dude. So, my number 6, I'm going with Eric Johnson, Cliffs of Dover.
Beautiful.
I mean,
Good
the
stuff.
opening guitar line on that. I mean, I've tried to learn that, and it's just fucking impossible for me to even learn it. I've tried, but damn, man. I mean, I every time I heard that song, and that was one of those songs, rare instrumentals that got radio airplay, man. You know, when that came out, especially in my area in New Jersey, New York radio, it got a lot of airplay, man. And you know, not many, and there's only a handful of instrumentals that really you could say that about that actually got like radio airplay.
right.
You know what I mean? So, and
Mhm.
that was one of them. So, Manny picked a Joe Satriani song before. I'm picking another one, Satch Boogie. I mean, that's like a showcase for him. That's kind of like his Hot for Teacher in a way. It's got that same vibe to it. You know what I mean? So, I love the 80s and into early 90s Joe Satriani. He's kind of lost me on the later albums, but that period from Surfing with the Alien through The Extremist and even maybe one beyond that, man, it's prime Joe Satriani for me. He did a lot of great stuff. I love the Flying in a Blue Dream album. I love that album as well. I know he attempted singing on there, but there's a lot of great instrumentals on there as well. But I'm going with Satch Boogie on this one. So Jeff Beck, Eric Johnson, Joe Satriani. That's a trifecta right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Great 80s guitar players.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Jeff Beck 70s, but you
Yeah.
know what I mean. I mean, Jeff Beck was the leader of it all.
Yeah.
Jeff Beck's fantastic. I got an Eric Johnson album that I bought a while back, and I haven't spun it yet. That's something I really got to do.
Yeah.
And of course,
Avia Musicom,
Surfing with
man.
the Alien. Huh?
Avia Musicom.
Mm.
That's the album that it comes off of. That's what Cliff
Okay.
over. So
Honestly,
Anyway.
you can't go wrong with any of them. He doesn't have that many out, but he's
No.
great.
and
It's
I've
a
seen
great album.
Eric Johnson. I've seen him live. We saw him on Experience Hendrix tour. Remember we saw him last year, Manny? He was on the
Yeah, he was
Experience Hendrix show.
Oh,
He's always on those tours, but I did see him solo once as well in a small, very intimate room, and he ripped it up, man. I mean, he was great guitar player, man. So
And we got some comments here from Mike Impressions and Reviews. Doc and Mr. Scary, Steve
That's a
Vai
great
the
one.
Reaper, Al Di Meola, which you can't go wrong with. Spanish Highway,
yeah,
and Van Halen's Eruption, which Manny spoke about earlier.
yeah,
This
Good
is
picks.
this is one of the first instrumentals that I heard from this guy. I absolutely loved it. It's going to be Santana, Sapa Para Ti. I love that slow, very expression ballad like with great guitar finger picking pretty much. So that one is my number 7. My number 6 is going to be off the Pendulum album by Creedence Clearwater Revival, which, we know CCR. A lot of people know, their hit songs. But, man, if you listen to CCR albums, they get weird. And they get weird on this album. Rude Awakening number 2, which closes that out. It's a 7-8 minute weirdness that only John Fogerty
What
would make.
album was that one?
This is off
Pendulum.
the Pendulum.
Pendulum. Okay.
Yeah, Pendulum. It's Rude Awakening number 2. and it's a slow burner. It's about 7 minutes, but man, once it gets to that peak, dude, it's pure CCR and it's fantastic. So those are my picks, right?
Yeah, I think
Didn't you have one more?
Oh yeah, I got one more.
Wait, you got one more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know when
You got
I
one more.
went, yeah, when I went to Stax Records in Memphis, we took a tour of it, and I fell in love with everything that was going on there. Booker T and the MGs, of course, is primarily um, a instrumental band, but they did this one, which is Macklemore Avenue, which is where what the street is that Stax is on, and they do Abbey Road
Oh,
That's cool.
instrumentally, and I'm gonna pick
the
way
whole
that-
album? They
They
did the whole.
did the whole album, but
Oh.
they did. I mean, this whole album is Abbey Road, but they didn't do all of it. They did medleys,
Oh,
which
okay.
is what I'm going to talk about. Which they did. Let me get my glasses real quick because it's
Booker
very
T, man,
important.
the MGs. I thought you were gonna pick like Green Onions or something.
No, they did. They did Sun King, me, Mr. Mustard, Policy and Pam. She came in through the bathroom window, and then connected it to "I Want You." She's so heavy.
Oh, okay, cool.
So
Cool.
that's the track.
I never heard of them doing that, man. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool, man.
Yeah,
I never
this
have
one-
either, but now I got to check it out.
Yeah, it's so good. The other song has "Because You Never Give Me Your Money," which they stretch it out to like an 8-minute track. And then on
Nice.
side one, since we're talking about it, they got Golden Slumber, Carry That Weight, The End, Here Comes the Sun, and Come Together. They put it all as a medley. And
Cool.
then they do something. So they do almost everything, but they do it in medleys.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man.
Really good. And also, I wanted to talk about this, but he sings on it too. It's right here. I got the same thing by George Benson doing the other side of Abbey Road,
Oh, okay.
and it's so good. His guitar work is just fantastic. And in fact, this came out in the end of '69, so it was right after Abbey Road actually came out.
No shit.
Yeah, he did this, but he sings on it. But he was ruining the song for me because he would sing just very little, and the rest was instrumental.
Hmm.
But this is also something really to check into. Is George Benson, the other side of Abbey Road? My wife had gotten this for me for one Christmas, and she didn't really know what she was getting me because she just thought it was Abbey Road as Beatles and that I would like it. Well, that's what started me going into this George Benson thing because I thought it was fantastic. So
Yeah, yeah.
and I've been buying George Benson's here and there. But yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, Joe, let's go with 4-3-2.
4-3-2.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 4, like I alluded to earlier, I figured that a few people, or at least one person, would pick Transylvania. So I decided to go a bit of a different direction, and I picked the other Iron Maiden instrumental off of Power Slave, Lost for Words, which is just an awesome instrumental.
It is awesome.
If you get, I can't remember which single it is, but one of the singles from Live After Death, a live version of Lost for Words is the B-side.
Oh,
That
wow.
wasn't on the album, right?
That wasn't on the album,
Yeah.
even the original double album. I think it was that, and there was 2 other songs that weren't on Live After Death, but were recorded at those same shows.
Oh, okay.
So Lost for Words being one of them.
Cool.
Just awesome, great instrumental from Power Slave, the other big Iron Maiden instrumental aside from Transylvania. My number 3, a band that has released a ton of instrumentals, but probably my favorite one from Dream Theater would be Stream of Consciousness off of Train of Thought.
Ooh,
Really
okay.
great instrumental, long instrumental. I mean, there are so many you could have gone with. You could have gone with Erotomania off of Awake. You could have gone with this. You could have gone with the overture from 6 Degrees. You could have gone with the overture from Scenes from Memory. You could have gone with Dance of Eternity. Ton of great instrumentals. but I went with Stream of Consciousness from Train of Thought. And my number 2, another artist who has made a career off of a lot of instrumentals, and that is Frank Zappa. And I had a very tough time deciding what Frank Zappa instrumental I wanted to choose, so I went with one completely off on the left-hand side of the tracks. This is a song that was actually off his final album, The Yellow Shark, an album that he personally was very proud of because he finally got to realize his dreams of writing music for and conducting an orchestra. He had done it earlier in the 80s with the London Symphony Orchestra, but that was a very bad experience for all involved. Nobody came out looking better after that one. The albums are not great. They had to overdub a bunch of stuff on them. But in the last year of his life, when he was very sick, he wrote and conducted a concert with the Ensemble Moderne, released it as the Yellow Shark album, and the song is G-Spot Tornado.
Wow.
Which is just a really great instrumental on its own off Jazz from Hell, but then kind of calibrated for the orchestra. It's just a really, really great track that really kind of shows some of the genius of Frank Zappa, even more than all the other songs that show the genius of Frank Zappa, but just especially something that he was so proud of in the last year of his life when he was very, 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 very sick. Was still able to get up on stage, and this is one of the songs that he was able to conduct at the concert. So that's my number 2. So my number 4 was Iron Maiden, Lost for Words. Number 3 was Dream Theater, Stream of Consciousness, and number 2 was Frank Zappa, G-Spot Tornado, particularly the Yellow Shark version.
Cool.
Excellent choices as usual.
Yeah,
So far. Yeah.
Yeah, that's some really good ones, dude.
So
That Frank Zappa one, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a number, man, you could take. So.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
I
got
haven't listened-
the
I haven't
Jazz
listened
from
to Yellow
Hell.
Shark in a while. Oh, Jazz from Hell.
Yeah, the Jazz from Hell version of G-Spot Tornado. I didn't pick that one, but I did pick Zappa. You know, I did.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, Zappa rules. I have a sort of Frank Zappa story. So when I was a kid, this guy, older guy, biker guy, asked me to play in a Frank Zappa tribute. I'm not a great musician. I said, sure, I can play it. I couldn't play a note of it. I didn't even, So I just go up there. I couldn't. So I would go up there and I would just make noise, They would like point at me. I go, whatever, and mess with the amp. They go, man, genius, avant-garde. I didn't know what I was doing, Anyway, I'm totally serious. So anyway, me and Al's goes to this record store with me called Kingfish. And there's an older guy that goes there, and I played in the band with him. He remembered me. I couldn't believe it because this is 30-something years ago or whatever, even maybe even more. And he calls me Frank because my name was Frank Zappa. I was named after Frank Zappa. So, he never corrected me. And my daughter finally, she was with me one day. She goes, why does he call you Frank? He goes, your name's not Frank. I go, no, we paid in the Frank Zappa tribute band. Do you remember I didn't know what I was doing? He goes, you didn't know what you were doing?
all these years and he had no idea.
But I'm totally serious. I would just make some noise because I had Frank Zappa albums, but I couldn't play that. And I would just, hit some stupid, all right, just some weird key. And, people go, oh, that kid's good. I didn't have the heart to tell him. I had no effing clue what I was doing. None whatsoever. Anyway, that's my Frank Zappa story.
That's awesome.
So there you go. Yeah. Thanks.
You're up.
All
You're
right.
up next, man.
I'm up. Okay.
4, 3, 2.
All right. All right. So number 4, Tommy Bolin in a song called I can't read my own writing. It's off of Teaser. Let me look it up. I literally just listened to it today. Tommy Bolin, as you know, I got into him because he had replaced Richie Blackmore. But he was only 25 when he died, but he had a long career, 7 years. Not a long career. That's not long. But he did a lot of different stuff in his short time on this planet. He did jazz fusion. He placed... he took the place of Joe Walsh. Actually, he took over the guy who took over Joe Walsh and the James Gang. Mm-hmm. He played with Billy Cobham, which the guy was incredible. And by the way, the song was called Marching Powder. Unfortunately, he's very aware of that. Yeah, that's the album.
Yeah.
Incredible musician, and he died at 25. And when you listen to that album, that's the only instrumental on there. Like anyone who's died young, you just ask yourself, what could he have done? You know, he's totally unpredictable artist. Yeah. And also,
Zephyr was great.
Oh yeah, the guy, for a guy who died so young, I mean 25. This guy got around.
Yeah.
Yeah, they talk about his disasters playing with Deep Purple, and a lot of it was live because he'd get fucked up. But there's points of brilliance. But as a solo artist or with other bands, I don't know why he joined Deep Purple, because he had no interest in playing those songs. He did like playing with the guys, but he didn't want to play Highway Star or any of that. And you could tell he quickly lost interest, you know, in Deep Purple. But good stuff. All right, another one's going to be, to the next two are going to be pretty obvious, but I'm going to name them Yngwie Malmsteen, Far Beyond the Sun. Reason I named that, besides its awesomeness, is because that for worse, not for better, ushered in the age of shred. The reason I say that is because Yngwie Malmsteen got a lot of people just focus on speed and focus on not so much songwriting, but trying to impress you how good you are. Yngwie could do that and could write songs. Unfortunately, as he got older, writing songs went by the wayside. But the guy was awesome and very young.
Those 80s albums, man.
Yeah.
Those he'll never beat like that run of 80s albums that he did, man. From the first one, I even love Eclipse. So from the first one to Eclipse, I thought that was all good, great songwriting on there, and worked with great vocalists. And after that, it's when it became so self-indulgent. After that, those moments of great stuff, you know, through the 90s and the 2000s. But like after that, like I mean, the last like 10 years of his career, 10, 15 years of his career is just nothing but self-indulgence, man.
And that's a long time, man. That's a long
Yeah, that's a long time.
I've seen it live. I can confirm.
Oh, so have we.
Well, me and Al went last year, and
while it was good, you know,
it was fun.
Yeah,
but
he played at M3 a couple years ago, and that was not the venue for him. Let me put it to you that way.
Oh, but being on that festival, I did nah, dude.
When he's playing at 4:00 on a Saturday afternoon, opening up for Warrant.
Oh, jeez.
I could see him on that festival. If it was like the Odyssey era where he had like Jolyn Turner in the band or something, where he actually had good songs to play. I could see that, but like not now.
Well, and what made it worse was his sound was atrocious.
Oh, really?
And the crowd let him have it. He did not go over well at all.
Wow.
And it was a lot of noodling, and whenever he tried to sing, it did not go well. You could feel bad because, and that was when Brian Wilson was still in the band. And so you could tell that he and the bass player were trying to keep everything together.
Yeah.
It did not stay together. I felt very bad for Brian.
We and Al saw him, and he was great live, and his vocals weren't bad, but he really needed a singer. What Yngwie's got going for him, besides he's massively talented, is he's very charismatic. So, you know, which is good because he usually kicks a vocalist at the side of the stage anyway when he plays. But, and it was good, but I couldn't tell you a single track he played besides actually Far Beyond. And it was. Can't complain. You go see Yngwie Malmsteen, that's what you're going to get. You know, you can't really bitch about it. But it literally was one giant guitar solo. It was a lot of fun. But if you go, name the set list, you know, unless Al got it from the show, I have no idea, you know. So,
and I got it. So
yeah, so thank God, you know.
It's just one song. It's just one song title.
Basically, what it sounded like, yeah.
It
was a great guitar solo. It's just long. It was 2 hours.
Somebody even at the M3 show filled out the set list on Setlist FM, and I'm like, I wanted to look at him and be like, how could you decipher what he was playing? Like, I don't understand how you could decipher what he was even playing.
Oh, dude, Dude, trust me, there's Ingve nerds, bro. That dissect.
I doubt they were at M3.
Yeah. Yeah, there might have been one or two there that traveled there.
Well, it's an audience made of guitar players and
Yeah.
people like me that didn't know what they were doing, but managed to get in the Frank Zappa tribute band. So that's what you had.
There you go.
And number 2, it's an obvious choice. Jimi Hendrix, Star Spangled Banner, and here's why I name it. Jimi Hendrix, as you guys probably know, was a paratrooper for a short while.
Yep.
And a matter of fact, the 2 guys that were Woodstock with him, Billy Cox, the bass player, he didn't serve in, I don't know if he served in Vietnam or not, but Larry Lee, who, if you listen to the Woodstock album, by the way, Jimi Hendrix turned him down so low you don't hear him. You're not making this up. And there was 2 songs that Larry Lee played the state never put out. But if you listen to Star Spangled Banner, what's interesting is in the 60s, there were 2 superstars that did not protest the war, even though they were against it. They did it in song, but not in public. One was Jim Morrison. And the reason they speculate he didn't, because his dad was an admiral, despite what their issues were, he did respect them. And the other person was Jimi Hendrix, because Jimi Hendrix had buddies that were in the war. He didn't want people to think that I'm pro.
Your sound went out.
He'd say it's a bad scene. Yeah, But Star Spangled Banner was his protest of the war. If you listen to it, you hear the bombs going off, you hear the machine guns, you hear the anger. And you also hear a man who loved his country. It was patriotic. Because if you don't love your country, you don't protest what you feel is wrong. You don't love it.
Right.
And that's what he was doing.
Right.
But he was doing it in an intelligent way, not a way to pay attention to himself, but pay attention to the music. And I wish we had more Jimi Hendrixes in the world for lots of reasons. But that's my number 2.
Good one. I really love Jimi Hendrix, and every time you're on here, you add things about Jimi Hendrix that I just love. So thanks for that, Manny.
Well, you're welcome. I'm a huge fan. So.
4, 3, 2, Al.
All right, man. My number 4, John Bonham, Moby Dick. Yeah, just to kind of paraphrase or to kind of name check, the song remains the same version. But anyway, yeah, I always loved. I mean, as my older brother who was the Zeppelin head when I grew up, I always heard that instrumental and John Bonham's drum solo and all that shit. And just as a kid, man, I always loved it. So I know it's a more obvious choice, but I'm going with what I love. So
yeah,
number what's that?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, number 3. I'm going with an obvious Frank Zappa one, Peaches and Regalia. Off of Hot
Amazing
Rats.
track.
That's phenomenal, dude. Anyway, go ahead.
Hot Rats is one of my favorites by him. I love that album so much. And Peaches and Regalia, every time like I go see Dweezil and he plays it, it's phenomenal and does a great job on it. And I mean, anybody, if Dweezil ever comes to your town, I regret missing him last time.
I was just thinking that out. I should have just gone. I could have seen that girl anytime.
It was one of those things I had tickets for and I didn't feel like traveling alone. Actually, my wife, she was like, "Do you want me to go with you?" And I just kind of felt bad. I didn't want to subject her to like
Zappa music for 2 hours.
Yeah, dude.
It's not for everybody, Al.
You'd have probably filed for divorce after that. But
especially
she was a
sitting through the whole Yellow Snow Suite.
But she was a trooper about it. She was like, "Do you want me to go with you?" And I was just like, "Nah, you know what? I've seen him quite a few times, so I'll just skip it tonight." I didn't feel like traveling an hour by myself. So, and normally I would too. I'll travel an hour and a half by myself. Doesn't matter. It was just one of those long days at work, and I got home. It was just like one of those. I think I'm just gonna relax tonight. You know what I mean? So, anyway, Peaches and Regalia, Zappa, and my number 2. One of the geniuses that we lost too early, and when he passed, a lot of people say the heart and soul of that band went with him, and that's Orion by Metallica. Cliff Burton, man, just showing what a genius he was and had he lived, what more he could have offered. I mean, I parallel him with like Randy Rhoads, man. Just like what could have been, you know what I mean? And to me, Orion is like the peak of like Cliff Burton's genius, man. I mean, there was years when Master of Puppets first came out, I thought the lead guitar in that I never knew was actually lead bass. You know, him distorted and all that. I mean, I didn't find out about that until like years later when I really studied it and all that shit, man. I was like, damn, man, you know, it's fucking what sounds like a lead guitar is lead bass, you know, and Cliff was just he was unbelievable. So I love Orion. I could have went with the other one, but Orion just kind of shows just the peak level of Cliff Burton. So that's my number 2. So Zeppelin, Moby Dick, Zappa, Peaches and Regalia, Metallica, Orion. Go ahead, Andy.
Nice. Well, Al, we're going to be kind of mirroring each other here, but I am going to go with my Pink Floyd choice. I did have one, and I snitched and I scratched it for the ultimate one, the backbreaker, Adam Hart Mother.
Oh.
Picks up all side one.
I was going back and forth on that one.
Wow, that is not one I saw coming, gentlemen. Brilliant choice, but not one I saw coming. No,
that song just takes you on a journey, and then you're lost in this journey, and then Gilmour brings you back each time because Gilmour's solos just pop out of nowhere.
Wow,
I mean, it's about 21 or 22 minutes.
Yeah,
it's all side one, and it's a journey, and I absolutely love that song. I'm going to go with you, Al, for my number 3, Master of Puppets, Orion. I think it's a fantastic instrumental, and it shows the strength of Metallica, and really shows the great musicianships that they are.
Yeah.
And here's going to be my Zappa. My number 2 is going to be off of Shake Your Booty. I absolutely love this album, and I'm going with the Shake Your Booty Tango.
Nice.
That's good stuff.
The guitar work on there is just awesome, and I could have gone with the bass solo that they did on this album as well. The bass work is fantastic on there, but I had to go with Frank on guitar. Just Melting Faces.
Oh yeah.
And
I think Frank is a goddamn underrated guitar player. He doesn't get talked about that as much. It's more kind of the humor and kind of like just the overall, just kind of like, you know, instrumental playing. You know, his guitar playing isolated gets overshadowed. I think, in my opinion, that guy was a fucking monster on guitar, man.
Yeah, he's amazing.
And the same thing you hear about him is that, he's weird, his music's different, but dude, no, you're not listening to him.
I think
it's weird. It's not different. It's better than what we're used to, is what it is.
I think Dweezil said that when he was preparing that Zappa play Zappa, and I saw the first tour he did. It was 2007, I think.
So it was something like that, because I went to that one too.
Yeah, where he had like Steve Vai in there. He had fucking everybody, man. Yeah, fucking great.
Yeah.
And Napoleon Murphy Brock, I think, was in there. And,
Yeah.
Was Terry Bozzio at your
Terry
show?
Bozzio. I mean, he had the alumni, man. I mean, that was, you know,
That's amazing.
I think like when I read an interview on him, though, I think he said, preparing for that to start that, I think it took him 2 years.
Yeah.
To actually study and learn Frank's guitar stuff, man.
Dude, it's amazing.
Yeah. And Dweezil, man, he is no fucking slouch, dude.
No.
That dude,
No, not at all.
so
I think Al, you're right. I think the lyrics and his music sometimes deceptively sounds whimsical, you know, because he used a lot of different instruments that are outside of rock,
Right.
you know. And a lot of the lyrics, it's got scatological humor. A lot of it, you know, boy, would he have a field today? Because if you know, Frank Zappa wasn't a liberal, he was a conservative. Matter of fact, he thought they all sucked. So he would have had a field day. He would have had a field day.
he would take the piss out of everybody, dude.
Big time.
He didn't care.
I love watching.
I love from the early 80s.
I love watching the clips of when he was on that Crossfire show.
Oh yeah.
Dude, he just fucking
Well, what's even more amazing is he wasn't wrong about some of these things
He wasn't.
said.
Oh no, oh no.
And it
We're-
got
we're
even more
talking about-
true in the decades after he died.
We're talking 40 years ago, these interviews,
Mhm.
you know. But as far as a musician, I don't even know where to go. The guy was amazing. You pointed out Jazz from Hell. I believe that was recorded on a Sinclair synthesizer.
It
When
is,
those things are brand new.
He played the lead on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a very I remember reading an interview where a lot of his fans really didn't take with the Synclavier stuff
Right.
just because it was so different. They were so used to a traditional rock ensemble. But if you read Frank's interviews, he said the only reason he released most of his music through the traditional form of rock was because that was the only way you could. That was the only way you could release that kind of music. But the Synclavier was his like dream because it was perfect. He said it was the only way that you could release music that was perfect. That it wasn't humanly fallible. That you plug it into a synthesizer and it's going to be perfect every time. You're not going to have musicians messing it up. You don't have. I mean, he always had big bands because he had to have all those different instrumentation, but you could just plug it into a synthesizer, and that was honestly, by the end of his life, that was his preferred way of making music. Even though a lot of his fans, including myself, I'm not a huge fan of the Synclavier stuff, but he said that by the end of his life, that was his preferred way of making music.
It's interesting. Just live, it's in front of an audience, all the best band you never heard. And he could play in his Zappa tradition stuff because he's ripping on there and somebody have it. Now,
You're breaking up a little bit,
You're
man.
breaking up, Manny.
Oh, sorry. But he's doing stuff there with that on there.
You sound like a Synclavier.
I can't help it, my internet, you know. Anyway,
Yeah.
we'll move on. We have somewhere.
Yeah. I was lucky enough, thankfully, to see Dweezil play the entirety of the Hot Rats album. I was going to say that when Al was talking about it. Just gave me a whole new appreciation for all that music. I mean, just amazing to see that performed live, and like what kind of musicianship that takes to perform that music live is just fantastic to see.
Yeah,
So, Andy, what time is it?
it's time for our number one instrumental. Go, Joe. What is your number one instrumental song? What's your favorite?
Well, this was my cop out. This is the one that I had to pick. And if I know certain members of this panel, I don't think I'm going to be the only one. So I'm going to defer to Al and let him be the one to talk about it. So I'm going to give that one to Al. We'll go to Manny right now, but then I'll let Al talk about it. Because I have a feeling.
Sinclair?
What?
They'll sell Sinclair better.
Dude, you're still breaking up, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Are you on
dude.
your phone?
Oh, I'm going to do this anyway. I'll do it quick.
There you go.
Jeff Beck,
Oh, yeah,
Lead
you sound
Boots.
better.
You're sounding better now. Go ahead.
Okay. Jeff Beck, Lead Boots is my number one because I love Jeff Beck. That instrumental. Guy's brilliant. The guy's brilliant. Mixing fusion with hard rock to whatever secret sauce was Jeff Beck. And I missed the guy. So number
Lead
one,
Boots,
Lead
man.
Boots, Jeff Beck. Guy rules. Everyone else drools. All right, who's next?
All right. Well, Joe is letting me take the reins on. I guess, great minds think alike. So to me, I mean, I think of this as the gold standard of like instrumentals. I mean, honestly, dude, for hard rock, prog instrumental, it's La Villa Strangiato by Rush from the Hemispheres album. I mean, to me, like that's the ultimate instrumental in my opinion. I'm a little biased because I'm a huge Rush fan, so I guess you could put that bias against me. But Joe, thank you. I was wondering when, I know Manny picked YYZ, but I was wondering when La Villa was going to get picked, because I was like, it's got to get picked by somebody, and I thought my Thunder was going to get stolen, but Joe was nice enough to hand it to me. I appreciate you, brother. You can talk about it now too. Go ahead,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, that's. I mean, easily that was literally the first thing I wrote down. If you look on the list, the top of my list right there is La Via Strangiato. The first thing I wrote down when I was thinking about instrumentals. Literally, the way I did this was I just wrote down bands, and then kind of filled it in later. My entire list is artists and La Via Strangiato. So if that tells you where my mind was at with everything.
I mean, talking about the song a little bit though, a lot, you know, it was based on like dreams that Alex had. Actually, he had dreams, and they kind of turned it into, you know, there's certain sections of the song, and they actually, like, if you remember the old Looney Tunes cartoons, there's actually like an old, like, kind of a jazz run, like jazz instrumental that used to, you know, dun, 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 dun.
Mm-hmm.
They actually copped that from like the old Looney Tunes cartoons.
Oh, wow.
And kind of incorporated it into like the riff, you know. So it's kind of like and you know, I think Getty got asked about it one time, and he laughed and he was like, yeah, well, you know, that I'm sure those Looney Tunes cartoons were ingrained into our psyche, into our brains from watching it so much as kids, you know, when we were younger, that it kind of crept into the song, you know, and you know, and yeah, but I mean, that to me, that's like the ultimate Rush instrumental, you know. And Rush has done a few instrumentals throughout their career. There was that one, there was YYZ, and then there was a long period in the 80s where they didn't actually do any instrumentals. Then they came back to it with Vapor. No, actually with Tesseract. No, Counterparts. Sorry.
Yeah, there's stuff on
Counterparts. So Leave That Thing Alone, and then Limbo, and there's some good instrumentals, but La Villa is just the gold standard, in my opinion, of instrumentals. So
one of the coolest things I've ever gotten to see, I talked about it on here a couple months ago. I got to see this really cool Rush tribute band.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Play locally that had a couple of the former members of Kix, the band Kix, in it. And they did, I mean, just one of the greatest set lists you could ever imagine. And one of the highlights for me easily was seeing them do La Via Strangiato, just because they nailed it. And the amount of musicianship that takes, I mean, we were talking about Frank Zappa, but
it does.
For three guys on a stage to do that kind of music, and they performed it brilliantly. I mean, the whole show was brilliant, but like that was a huge highlight for me.
And were they a trio as well?
Yes, yeah, it was guitar,
cool.
bass, and drums, and they did it. They did it perfectly. They did what you needed to do when they did Xanadu. They both had double neck guitars. Like they did the whole shebang.
Yeah.
And
cool.
I mean, like the bass player that was singing was playing keyboards and everything. So like they didn't add in.
They did like a proper tribute to it.
Yes, yeah, they were doing. I mean, the drum set was gigantic, and the drummer had the gong and everything behind him, all the trigger pads and everything that Neil had. I mean, it was a very faithful tribute, and easily one of the highlights was seeing them do La Via, just because that's one of my favorite songs of all time, and they really did it justice. So
that's cool, man. All right, so me and Joe, La Villa, Strangiato by Rush. Andy, man, and Lead Boots. I got Manny Lead Boots. Yeah, I was looking at that one too, man. That's a great one, and that was on the second album.
Yeah, Wired.
That was on Wired.
Wired. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wired was after Blow by Blow. Then.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, okay. I got to see Jeff Beck live with Steve Ray Vaughan the only time I saw him, and amazing. Anyway,
I saw Jeff Beck twice. So anyway, go ahead, Andy.
Andy, you're up, Andy.
Yeah, I was able to see him briefly during a ZZ Top set. He jumped on stage with for a guitar festival. I remember those Crossroads Blues guitars.
Oh yeah.
Festivals that Clapton would do.
Yeah.
I saw Jeff Beck on one of those.
Wow, that's cool. You went to one of those?
Yeah. When it came to Dallas at the Cotton Bowl.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I saw Jeff. I saw Jeff solo in a theater, which is phenomenal. It was great. Oh, and wow. Opening up for him actually was I'm sorry. Jeff Beck in the theater, and then I saw him when he toured with Paul Rogers and Ann Wilson. That was a triple bill.
Cool.
Yeah, great. It was a great That was a great triple bill there. So
Oh yeah, that's really cool, man.
yeah. I'm sorry, Andy. Go ahead, brother.
No. My the one that I'm gonna pick, my number one instrumentals that every fabric of every rock fan that's bled into our American psyche. And I'm going with this is played on the radio a lot or all the time. The Allman Brothers. I'm going to go with Jessica.
Oh God,
Oh, dude, that's phenomenal. That's
I know.
phenomenal.
It's on my honorables, man, but it was going to be in my top 10.
Yeah, Jessica's just a fantastic.
I almost
track.
picked that one. I almost
I
picked
think you did.
Mountain Jam too. But
I almost went with Mountain Jam. I also almost went with Elizabeth Reed.
Elizabeth
but-
Reed is great too.
Yeah, there was
Well,
something.
just get the live at Fillmore East, man.
Yeah, I
Just,
think-
just hold up Fillmore East
Call
and
it
say,
a
here's my
day.
number one.
Yeah,
We'll call it
But
a
yeah.
day, but yeah.
yeah. Jessica is just a fantastic.
You know how
instrument.
huge of an Allman Brothers fan I am, and I can't believe it pains me that I didn't even have them in my top 10. But that Jessica, every time that's a song, dude. But when it comes on, that's another one that gets a lot of airplay. It's
Yeah.
deservedly so. It was a hit, and I don't know why, but that song every time it comes on, it just brings a smile on my face, man. I could be like down and out, and I hear that, and it lifts my mood up, man. You know, it's one of those songs, dude.
You know, Dickie Betts did a lot of that heavy lifting for the Allman Brothers for years.
Oh yeah,
Years.
yeah.
All right, guys,
Yeah.
let's go with our honorable mentions.
Anybody got any?
I got mine right here.
Go ahead, brother.
First, one I wanted to pick that's actually a full album. It's all instrumental because of the band got sued and they had to take all the lyrics off of the album.
Oh wow.
Who's that?
Oh, am I back?
No,
My-
go ahead.
Yeah.
You're on.
No,
Yeah, no, my internet went out weird for a second. So my first honorable mention is a full album that the band got sued, and so the lyrics had to be removed off the album. They turned the whole album into an instrumental, and that is Camel's Snow Goose album.
Oh,
Oh,
Wow.
Oh, I did not know that story. Wow.
Yes. So the whole album originally had lyrics, and the author of the poem or the book, The Snow Goose, sued the record company, and they had to take the lyrics off of the whole album, and so it turned it into an instrumental album. And It's
Wow.
a really beautiful instrumental, some great guitar work on there as well, some great progressive stuff on there.
You know, the
Um,
last time you had mentioned that was like probably about a month or two ago,
Yes.
and I heard it the next day. And you're so right. The music is so great that you can
Mhm.
follow the story after you hear what the story's about.
Yeah.
And then when you hear the album, you can follow it. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
You're right, because it goes through the highs and lows of the story. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a really good version as well. They do it on their live album, a live record. They do the whole Snow Goose album on disc 2 of that live album. That's just a really great rendition of it.
Yeah.
So
But Jimmy
that-
Swartz also agrees. Snow Goose is amazing. It is.
yeah,
Mhm.
cool.
Next one, I didn't put it on my list because I had Steve Hackett, but I wanted to talk about Genesis, Unquiet Slumber for the Sleepers in That Quiet Earth, off of Wind and Wuthering. Really great instrumental. Steve Hackett still plays that one quite a bit live. Next, I went with Liquid Tension Experiment,
Ooh,
off of their most recent album, which I think is a really great album. They reformed a couple
The
of years
third
ago
one,
during COVID.
right?
The third one.
yeah.
The first single, The Passage of Time, really, really great track. I mean, you have just 4 amazing musicians with John Petrucci, Tony Levin, Jordan Rudess, and Mike Portnoy, just at the peak of their powers, just really doing some great stuff on that. That LTE 3 album is really, really great. I'm glad that they got back together. And honestly, that's pretty much the reason that Mike Portnoy is back in Dream Theater now. Was that they got that back going.
Yeah.
He was on Petrucci's solo
Petrucci's
album.
Solo album, yeah.
They got LTE back together, and then of course now he's back in Dream Theater. When they put out that LTE album, I knew it was only a matter of time before he was back in Dream Theater. But that was phenomenal. That the Passage of Time, really great track. My Pink Floyd pick. I almost went with Adam Hartmother. I think that is really underrated. I think the band shits all over it. I don't understand why.
I don't feel-
They hate it, and I don't
I
get it.
love it.
But I think it's amazing.
That's the beginning of my Pink Floyd. Period.
Same here.
That I really
Same
follow.
here. I was also thinking about mentioning the Ummagumma version of Songs Are Full of Secrets. I think that's a really great live version. But I decided to go with the title track with from Obscured by Clouds. Really great way to open that album. Beautiful instrumental track.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that album, dude. That's underrated.
Amazing album.
Such a good album.
Underrated. People forget about that album all the time.
Completely different.
Mm-hmm. People usually tend to jump right from Metal to Dark Side of the Moon and leave that album out, and I think that album deserves a lot more love.
That's a big mistake.
Yes. And then my final honorable mention is a song that was only ever released on their live album, and that is Blue Oyster Cult with Bucks Boogie. Off of the On Your Feet or On Your Knees album. When I saw them live a couple years ago, the same day that I saw Yngwie at the M3 Rock Festival, Blue Oyster Cult was there, and they did Bucks Boogie that day. So it was really cool to see them do that live. They went right from then came the last days of May into Bucks Boogie.
Nice.
Great.
I need to see them again, man. It's been
I really want to see them again.
Yeah.
I only ever saw them. That was the only time I ever saw them, and I really, really want to see them again.
I've never seen Blue Oyster Cult.
You ever seen BOC, man?
No.
We got to make it a point when they come down here.
I was say they're coming down there in like this month or next month.
They played a few months ago at it was the called Thunder by the Bay. It's a motorcycle music and motorcycle.
Oh, you talk about the OCC, right?
Blue Oyster Cult.
No, but did they play at the OCC over in Clearwater?
No.
Okay.
No, they didn't. No, it was Thunder by the Bay. It was like a festival, motorcycle festival. I don't remember where it's at though, but I think it's in like Sarasota.
On July 4th this year, they're playing in Tampa.
Oh,
at the Hard Rock.
Oh shit! I got to get on it then.
on July 3rd, they're at the Hollywood Hard Rock.
I'm sorry. When is it? July what?
July 4th.
Oh, I'm gonna be in Portugal. I won't be here.
On July
4th. But...
Yeah. On July 3rd, they're playing. On July 3rd, they're playing at the.
Where are they playing July 3rd?
In Hollywood at the Hard Rock.
I bet you. Ralph might go to that one.
Yeah, and then on the 4th, they're playing in Tampa.
Yeah,
man, Florida gets a lot of shows.
We do.
Yeah, they aren't coming anywhere. BOC's not coming anywhere around here.
The bands love the warm weather, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Your internet broke up again. Your audio. I can't hear you, man. I don't know what happened. You're frozen. You're freezing up, man. You sound so robotic, bro.
Guys.
I don't know what the hell you just said, bro, but you're gonna leave? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because my internet's cut now.
Now it's back.
Oh, all right. Well, I was going to say I was going to leave, but my honor mention is Culture Club, Karma Chameleon. Not because it was an actual instrumental, but if it was, it would have been brilliant. Just let you know. So there you go.
My favorite version of Karma Chameleon is the one that Ralph did at Applebee's.
Oh yeah, that was beautiful, man. That was beautiful.
So you don't have any, Manny?
No, because I just did everything at the last minute. You know how I work, man.
All right, I'll go through mine then.
All right.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna take off, but thank you for having me, gentlemen.
All right, thanks a lot, man. Thank you so much for your expertise and your heart and your presence. Thank you so much.
I'll call you tomorrow, bro. Have a good night, brother. All right, man. I got a couple here. Metallica, The Call of Cthulhu. Love that one as well. You know, Van Halen, Sunday Afternoon in the Park. I know. Yeah. I love that one, man. I love the whole Eddie on the synthesizer, but he just rips it up on there. And I love just the way it goes into One Foot Out the Door, man. But Sunday Afternoon in the Park, man, I think it's a killer instrumental. So
I always remember. I remember hearing someone describe that as what it would sound like if dinosaurs were walking on the earth. And I
Oh,
always
yeah.
loved the way that was like a perfect description of that song.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Gary Moore's version of Roy Buchanan's "The Messiah Will Come Again," because on the Roy Buchanan version, he does a spoken word kind of in the middle of the song, whereas Gary Moore he makes it all instrumental. So and Gary, and not that the Roy Buchanan version isn't good, I do love that version, and I have it on vinyl as well. But the Gary Moore version just has that Gary Moore fire that he adds to it, man. And I think it's a great instrumental. The Messiah Will Come Again. The same could be said about Stevie Ray Vaughan's version of Little Wing. He takes the Hendrix song and makes it instrumental, which is, I think, is great and brilliant the way he did it, man. We were speaking about Ted Nugent, Homebound from the Cat Scratch Fever album. I think that's a cool instrumental. Dream Theater, Itzy Jam, which is on the first album, which would be a staple in their live set for a lot of years. They wouldn't really play much off of that first album, but that song would stay in their set, because the first album was with a different singer, Charlie Dominici, who has since passed away.
It's Majesty spelled backwards, Andy.
Yeah, Itzy Jam, right?
Yeah.
Majesty.
YT.
I'll just do it backwards.
Yeah. YTSEMJAM.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
And
Little Wing, I cannot believe I forgot that one.
Which one?
A Little Wing, so good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Ace Frehley has another great instrumental. It's on a guitar compilation. I love it. It's called Cherokee Boogie. I always, it's on this Guitar for the Practicing Musician, like a guitar magazine, but it's a CD. It's a compilation. I thought it was a great instrumental. And actually, when I first came out on New Jersey radio, there was a station that actually played it. It got some airplay actually when I came out, because that was before, I believe, right before the reunion, or right around when the reunion was happening. Actually, that came out. So check it out, man. If you never heard that Ace Frehley Cherokee Boogie, it's a cool instrumental. Billy Cobham, Quadrant 4. We were speaking about
Tommy
from
Bolin.
the Spectrum album. We were talking about Tommy Bolin before, man. He's on that track. Rips it up.
Yeah.
And Fleetwood Mac, Albatross. That's another
Great
one
track.
from the Peter Green years. So that's, I know it's more than 5, but I figure I'll take the slack up for Manny there and name off a bunch. So that's what I got.
And probably a little slack for me too, because I don't think I have 5, but I am going to start with Quadrant 4 by Billy Cobham.
Yeah.
Al's the one that got me into Billy Cobham. He had mentioned that
That album is just phenomenal.
And then I did the Joseph thing and went on Amazon and bought a 4-pack of his. So that turned out to be great. Let me see here. Joe Satriani, Always With You, Always With Me.
Oh, that's a great one too, man.
That really good ballad that's off of Suffering with an Alien.
Yeah.
The Beatles, Flying. I always like that song. That's a perfect song to be on Magical Mystery Tour. Nowhere else. Just on Magical Mystery Tour. Jeff Beck, Because We Ended as Lovers.
Ooh, that's a great one too.
Also on, I think it's on Wired or Blow by Blow.
That's on Wired.
On Wired, right?
I believe.
And
no.
on Neil
No,
Young,
actually, it might be on Blow on Blow. I think
it's on Blow by Blow.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna stick it in Neil Young somewhere. Neil Young, Emperor of Wyoming, which is off the debut album. It's a country instrumental full of fiddles and stuff, but it's very pleasant. So those are my honorable mentions. Man, I'm gonna have fun making a playlist out of these. So
I've been loving that you've been making these playlists, Andy. That's so great. I love being able to, especially if there's songs that I don't really know, to be able to check them out that way. Be able to see them all in that list right there, not trying to have to remember everything.
Yeah, dude. I like that you're doing that. So
so I will send those out again.
What I do is then the list of songs, I'll go on YouTube and I'll actually make the playlist of that, you know, and I'll listen to it like, you know, as a like nice fucking 20 song or whatever. We got 40 songs.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Pretty much. I mean, I don't know if you put the honorables on there or not, but
I do now. I do
Okay.
now. Yeah, because they're
shit,
just
you're
important.
gonna have like 60 songs on there.
Dude, and these instrumentals, there's some of them that are freaking long.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have a long. I still haven't done the 1971 yet, but I will.
Okay.
That one.
When we jump off here, Al, I'm going to send you the link to the Steve Hackett song that I mentioned.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, do that,
live
man.
version that I was talking about.
Yeah. Please.
All
I
right.
got to deep dive into his solo
He has some
stuff.
good solo stuff. He has
Yeah.
some good, especially the first couple albums, and then his recent stuff has been
Yeah.
really great.
Yeah. Cool. All right, man. I guess that's it, right?
All right, yeah, man. I want to thank Manny for being on with us and then giving us his picks that were fantastic. I want to thank Joseph for being on with us tonight.
This is a great show tonight, man.
In fact, Al and I would like to also thank Jimmy James Schwartz. Always, if he's not here with us, he's here with us on the comments. So thank you so much, Jimmy. You're a big part of our show. And also for Mike impressions and reviews. Thank you so much for all your
Chiming in.
as well. Yeah, thank you so much. Al, any last words, man?
This week I'm going to me and Manny are going to the Sunday Metallica show, but Friday it's going to be me, my daughter, my wife, my daughter's friend. The four of us, we're going to go check out the Friday show together. Then Sunday, me and Manny and a couple of my work friends actually are going to the Sunday show. So I am hitting up both shows this weekend. So it's all Metallica mania down here now. All the stations are fucking gearing up for this event and all that. I took a half a day off of work on Friday because I'm doing the same thing I did for AC/DC because I'm beating the traffic to the stadium because
definitely.
it's just going to be ridiculous. So I get off of work at like noon, go home, get ready, and by like 2:30, I'm out the door, you know, going to the stadium. So we got food, we tailgate, we just hang out, you know, it's a great time. And it's a Friday night. Don't have to worry about being at work the next day. The Sunday one will be a little, you know, I'm going to take a little, not drink so much on Sunday, you know, and, you know, watch it because the next day I am going to work. So.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's going to be Metallica. It's going to be Metallica this weekend. My first time, my daughter will be seeing them. So it's another classic band off the bucket list for her. It's more about her this time than me. I've seen Metallica plenty of times. But this no repeat weekend is kind of like I didn't see any of this yet. So it's kind of like I'm interested in what they're going to play Friday and then what they're going to play Sunday. So, you know, but that's going to be my weekend. I haven't thought of a topic for next week yet, but I'm going to get on that, Andy. So we'll have something for next week. And I'll put the word out there and see who might want to come on. So,
all right.
But other than that, that's my weekend. That's my and thank another great show. Thanks, Joseph, Manny, and everybody that participated. So.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, this was a great episode. This was fun because we were able to talk about songs we usually don't talk about by bands that we always talk about. This was like another side of the band
what was great about it, man, there wasn't a lot of overlap in a lot of our picks. A lot of people had like different stuff, man, which is I love that. You know what I mean?
A lot of learning, a lot of new stuff to a lesson from bands that we love.
Yeah,
so that was cool. All right, guys. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And just as always, keep them spinning. All right, guys. I will see y'all later.
Cheers. See you next week.
Bye, y'all.